3 days after I ran from our wedding, my fiancée killed herself in the house she had prepared for us. All her assets were left to me. While sorting through her belongings, I found walls covered with photos of me. Her housekeeper told me, "Miss Sophia loved you for many years. Her life was tragic, and she suffered from severe depression. Only seeing you or thinking of you brought her any relief." Every word was shocking, suffocating, yet tinged with an inexplicable sadness. So, starting over, when my first love proposed the plan for me to flee the wedding again, I smiled and refused. "I'm not going." I wanted to see just how foolish this woman who loved me to death truly was. Sophia died 3 days after I ran from our wedding. My father and brother had just left the estate after apologetically telling her I'd fled when they got the news Sophia had slit her wrists. Attempts to save her failed. She died. In a will prepared long ago, she left all her property to me. Far away in North America, I received my brother's call, my expression slowly hardening. In my eyes, Sophia was just some stranger who had suddenly appeared, forcing a marriage. I didn't know her at all. Yet, every detail suggested she had loved me for many, many years. At the lawyer's request, I hurried back home, numbly accepting the urn containing Sophia's ashes. Her origins were a mystery. She had no known relatives. The housekeeper looked sorrowfully at the square box and told me softly, "Miss Sophia loved you for many years. Her depression was very severe. Only seeing you or thinking of you brought her any relief. I thought that after you married her, she wouldn't be so pessimistic anymore, but I never expected." Her voice trailed off, devoid of blame, yet my heart inexplicably tightened. Her assistant handed me a key. "This is the estate Miss Sophia prepared for you." It was also the new home she decorated herself. The place where she killed herself. The estate was vast, with green lawns and even a riding stable. The style was my favorite light gray. The furniture, the decor, everything reflected my tastes. One room inside was filled entirely with photos of me. I looked closely, recognizing pictures from my sophomore year of college up until recently. It seemed I had been under this woman's camera lens almost constantly. On the floor were the mottled stains of dried blood from her slit wrists, emitting a faint metallic smell. Each piece of evidence was shocking and suffocating, yet strangely evoked a sense of desolate sorrow. I couldn't help but feel angry again. If she liked me, why didn't she say so? Bursting into my family's life like a bandit, demanding marriage? How could I possibly agree to marry her? And now this tragic end. Was she trying to make me feel guilty, ensuring I'd never forget her? Dream on. I donated everything she left me, including the mansion. The photos on the wall were torn down by the cleaning crew, carelessly tossed onto the floor to cover the bloodstains. Sophia's brief, legendary life vanished without a trace from this world. I took 3 days to accept the reality of my rebirth. 3 days ago, Sophia had just arrived at my family home, forcefully demanding a marriage alliance, her methods bordering on coercion. My first love, Olivia, heard about it and immediately urged me to leave, to hide out in North America for a while. That's what I did last time. But this time, remembering the walls of photos and the horrifying bloodstains on the floor, I calmly shook my head. "I don't want to go anymore," I said. "I want to see just how foolish that girl who loved me to death really is." Sophia's business empire was huge. I went to find her. She was still in a meeting. Her assistant personally came down to greet me, asking me to wait in her office. "Ms. Sophia will be down soon," I acknowledged with a grunt. Sophia did come quickly. Before I'd finished a cup of tea, she hurried in. Seeing me, she stopped, calmly addressing me, "Mr. Ethan." Her expression was cool and distant, like she was looking at a stranger. Her coldness left me speechless. After a moment, I asked her, "Ms. Sophia, why are you so insistent on marrying me?" Sophia remained composed. "I want to marry, so I marry. I don't need a reason." I was momentarily lost for words. I stood up. "Then I'll be going." Sophia's expression flickered, a rare look of astonishment crossing her face. "Leaving already?" I stared at her blankly, watching her face gradually pale, a shroud of resignation settling over her. Yet, she still stepped aside to let me pass. If I wasn't certain this person liked me, I'd think she was just messing with me. I sighed and took the initiative. How about we have dinner together? Sophia and I interacting seemed to make even her assistant nervous. As I was leaving, the assistant kept apologizing. Ms. Sophia, she's not good at chatting with people. Mr. Ethan, please don't be angry with her. I'm not angry. I smiled at him. I actually quite like her. That cool beauty type, she's really my style. The office door wasn't closed. Through the small gap, I clearly saw Sophia touch her own face, looking stunned. I smiled faintly and told the assistant, I've asked your boss out for dinner tonight. Remember to remind her not to stand me up. The assistant nodded hurriedly, as if afraid I'd change my mind any second. I walked out of the company building. Just as I stepped outside, my phone rang. Seeing the caller ID Olivia, I calmly hung up, my thoughts drifting as I gazed at the clouds. Olivia had been clingy since childhood and genuinely cared for me. But whether first love or friend, eventually, everyone fades away on the long road of life. Like in my previous life, she found a lover, had children, and learned to keep her distance from me. So much so that when I was trapped in the mountains with a survey team and called her husband mocked me, asking why I was pretending to be some bachelor playboy and taking up mountain climbing. While her husband berated me, Olivia stood beside him, silent. I died there in the end. I wonder what she thought. That evening, Sophia arrived early. The dinner atmosphere was quite chilly. I tried to make conversation, but she was like a topic-killing machine, showing no enthusiasm for anything I said. I started to feel tired and placed my fork down heavily on the table. Ms. Sophia, behaving like this makes me feel like you don't actually want to build a family with me. Sophia just lowered her head and apologized. I'm sorry. That's not what I want to hear. I was genuinely getting frustrated. You've run a company for so many years, rarely lost at the negotiating table, and your insight into people should be flawless. Yet now, you act as if you have no interest whatsoever in our marriage. Sophia's face paled, her fingertips digging tightly into her palms, faint traces of blood showing. Don't overthink it, she said. I've never been this close to you before. I'm not used to it. Her sudden, almost confessional words surprised me. Her nervousness, her sadness, and the blood she drew from her palm didn't seem fake. I suddenly recalled what her housekeeper said in my past life. Miss Sophia's depression was very severe. Only seeing you brought her any relief. Ms. Sophia. I suddenly felt very curious and asked her directly, have we met before? Sophia's thin lips trembled slightly, her eyes instinctively darting away. She turned her head towards the restaurant's transparent glass window. We have. When? I pressed, but Sophia clamped her mouth shut, refusing to say another word no matter what. Feeling somewhat disheartened, I started eating my steak, no longer trying to force conversation. Sophia remained silent too, seemingly unaware that the atmosphere was awkward. She just stared blankly at my lips and neck. Her gaze followed the red wine down my throat, lingering for a moment on my Adam's apple before propriety made her look away. I calmly met her gaze. She quickly turned away, her face pale, inadvertently biting her lip hard enough to draw blood. I sighed in exasperation. If you want to look, just look. Don't be sneaky about it. Barring any surprises, we'll be married soon. Miss Sophia, can't you be a little more open about it? I muttered inwardly, taking so many pictures of me, having so many people watch me, probably even bribing my family's housekeeper. If she hadn't died so tragically last time, I would have reported her to the police as a stalker. But her assistant said Sophia was ill. One should be more patient with someone who is sick. I gently took her hand, ignoring her instantly stiffening posture. Using a napkin dipped in water, I carefully wiped the bloodstains from her palm. Such beautiful hands. Please don't hurt them anymore, okay? Sophia didn't answer me. She just stared into my eyes for a long moment, then asked in a low voice, does this mean you're willing to marry me now? Did you give me an option not to? She nervously fiddled with the hem of her dress. Actually, if you don't want to, you could. Run away? Or find you and yell at you? I stared into her eyes. Doing that wouldn't be a problem for me. But Sophia, what would happen to you? The outcome was obvious. She would die. In my last life, I never understood how someone could be so weak, so incapable, that they couldn't even face me once, ending their life so casually just based on news of me running away. But strangely, I couldn't bear the thought of her death. Sophia was undoubtedly a genius. Her business acumen was sharp, yet her origins remained a mystery. Rivals dug deep but found nothing about her background, forced to watch helplessly as she seized the internet boom and soared. With effortless grace, she put immense pressure on Chicago's established families. Yet, such a person killed herself over a man in the prime of her life. In the previous life, Sophia became a laughingstock, branded #1 love brain, subjected to vicious online slander fueled by her competitors. I didn't want that to happen again. On the way home, my mind drifted, thinking about many things. Finally, looking at the expressionless Sophia beside me, I decided to talk to her assistant in a couple of days. I genuinely didn't know how to interact with her. And her illness, was there really no cure? The black Rolls-Royce stopped in front of my family's villa. Coincidentally, Olivia was there, carrying pastries. Sophia's gaze dimmed. "Want to go down and say hello?" I asked, tilting my head towards her. "She's my neighbor's younger sister." "No need." Sophia gripped the steering wheel tightly. "You should go home." Though she said no need, her demeanor instantly turned cold, overlaid with a bitterness like she'd swallowed poison. I looked out the window. "Olivia and I are really just friends. Don't overthink it." "I won't." "Really?" I turned my head and saw her gripping the steering wheel so tightly her scars were visible. I pressed my fingers to my temples. "Miss Sophia, if something's bothering you, can you please tell me?" Keeping it bottled up makes interacting very difficult. Forced by my insistence, Sophia turned to look elsewhere and slowly said, "I don't really like her." "Then just don't interact with her." I patted her head encouragingly. "She's just my friend. You don't have to force yourself to like her. Besides, we're going to be husband and wife, a relationship much closer than hers. If you mind my relationship with her, I'll be more mindful in the future and keep my distance." Sophia looked a little surprised. "You distance yourself from her for me? Why not?" I seized the opportunity, leaning closer to her. "See? Things can only be resolved when they're spoken about, right? If you're unhappy about something with me, or have something you want to say, you must tell me. Don't keep it inside, making yourself miserable while I remain clueless. That's such a waste." I could vaguely sense that Sophia didn't know how to handle intimate relationships. She applied boardroom negotiation tactics to romance, coercing my family into marriage, yet became flustered and unsure how to respond when I approached her proactively. Her emotional inexperience was somewhat alarming. "It's okay," I thought. "I can teach her slowly." Olivia watched me get out of Sophia's car, her hand clutching the pastry box tightening, her expression fragile. As the car drove away, Olivia walked up to me. "Have you decided to marry this woman? She's beautiful, rich, and has no scandals in our circle. Why wouldn't I marry her?" "But," she stopped halfway, looking flustered and confused. She took a couple of quick breaths, finally clutching her chest and forcing out, "Are you sure you like her? In our circles, how many marriages are truly about love?" I shrugged. "She's suitable." Olivia's eyes widened. "Is she more suitable than us?" "Olivia!" I cut her off sharply, my face cold. "I'm getting married. Don't say things like that, it could cause misunderstandings." With that, I headed towards my house, ignoring her. Honestly, even having lived twice, I still couldn't quite figure out Olivia's attitude towards me. When she was good, she was incredibly good, staying by my bedside all night when I was sick. When she was bad, she was pretty bad too. She still couldn't remember my birthday. In my previous life, I asked her about marriage, but she refused. She said she wanted to have fun for a few more years. Then, while building snowmen in St. Petersburg, she fell head over heels for a tall, burly white guy, got married, and had kids in less than 3 months. Her husband strongly disapproved of my presence, so I stopped contacting her. I never expected it would be our final parting. Olivia must have been a little sad when she heard I died. After all, when bullies from outside school picked on her, I was the one who grabbed her hand, found them, and slapped them back, one by one. The next day, when I went to find Sophia, she was still in a meeting. Through the transparent glass window, I watched her serious expression, brow furrowed. I waited in the lounge, chatting with her assistant on the side. The assistant was tight-lipped, constantly dodging my questions. Even when I directly mentioned her illness, he feigned ignorance. I was getting exasperated. Don't you think telling me clearly would be best for her condition? But Miss Sophia doesn't want you to know, he said. She wants to appear perfect in your eyes. He hinted, Miss Sophia really hopes you can rely on her. What are you talking about? Sophia finished her meeting and walked in, running a hand through her hair, looking a bit tired. Talking about how beautiful you are, wondering if you've had plastic surgery. I leaned back on the sofa watching her. But your assistant says no. What a pity. Ms. Sophia's beauty is truly captivating. Sophia froze. The assistant had discreetly left, closing the door behind him. The lounge was extremely quiet. I heard the rustle of Sophia's clothes. Her voice was hoarse. You like how I look? Is that surprising? I raised an eyebrow. Surely Miss Sophia is aware of her own beauty? The back of her ears turned slightly red. She looked away awkwardly, avoiding my gaze. Speaking of which, calling you Miss Sophia still feels too formal. I walked over to her and reached out to stroke her head. Her hair was soft, smooth, and smelled wonderful. I leaned down close to her ear. Can I call you Sophia? Or maybe Soph? Sophia abruptly pushed me away. She suddenly got angry. I couldn't understand why she was angry, just like I couldn't understand why she liked me. She sat behind her desk, her back to me, her voice thick with resentment. You should leave. But I wanted to have lunch with you. No need. Sophia rejected me without hesitation. I have things to do this afternoon. What was she playing at? I studied her for a few moments, then said slowly, All right then, make sure you eat on time. I walked out and waited outside the door for a moment. Amidst the assistant's nervous expression, I heard the sound of things smashing, followed by Sophia's pained cries. I had intentionally left the door ajar. Her desperate, anguished shouts mixed with the sound of shattering glass drifted out. I tapped on the assistant's desk in front of me, my expression serious. Are you still planning on telling me nothing? He hesitated, but I ignored him and pushed the door open, walking straight in. Sophia looked utterly wrecked. She was curled up in a corner, hugging her knees, sitting amidst shards of broken glass. Her fingertips were covered in blood, whether from digging into her own skin or from the glass, I couldn't tell. I carefully stepped over the broken glass towards her. Sophia lowered her head in panic, her body trembling, refusing to look at me no matter what. I placed a hand on her shoulder. What's wrong? She was so small, so fragile. Just over 5 feet tall, I could easily lift her. I crouched beside her, using tweezers to pick out the glass fragments embedded in her palm. Sophia finally lifted her head, staring at me. After a moment, she said hoarsely, It's ugly, isn't it? What? Your hand? I paused, looking at the slender fingers, covered by only a thin layer of skin, and couldn't help muttering about how little self-awareness she had. It's beautiful. Resigned, I bent down and gently kissed her fingertips. Truly beautiful. But Sophia still didn't seem happy. She asked me, Did you say the same things to your ex-girlfriends? What? Trying to please me, being nice to me, calling me Soph. Did all your exes get this treatment too? An awkward silence fell. So that's why she freaked out earlier. Because of that. I thought maybe she had a brother in her family history or something, that the nickname Soph triggered her. Turns out it was just her love-obsessed brain acting up again. How could such a powerful, capable person be tormented so badly by emotions? I stroked her head, sighing softly. Silly girl. I dated quite a few women. After all, I was reasonably handsome, came from a good family, and had plenty of admirers. It was inevitable I'd feel something for a few of them. But in families like ours, dating and marriage are different things. My dad told me early on, date whoever I want, but when the time comes, I have to come back dutifully for an arranged marriage. I helped her stand up and sit on the sofa, letting the cleaners come in to tidy the floor. I poured her a glass of warm water, bustling around. Sophia pressed my hand. You don't need to do these things. Okay. I yielded to her touch and sat down, thinking idly. This woman probably knew exactly how many ex-girlfriends I had. I used to be quite wild, did some foolish things. If she minded those, there wasn't much I could do. Don't contact them anymore. Sophia's abrupt words interrupted my thoughts. I turned my head to look at her. Seeing her serious expression, I couldn't help but find it amusing. Are you ordering me? Her body tensed instantly, her breathing shallowing, as if she suddenly realized what she'd said. She turned her head away nervously. If you want to contact them, tell me first, otherwise I understand. I cut her off. I won't contact them again. Then I asked her, were you so angry just now because of my exes? Sophia didn't speak. I felt a bit helpless. Can you please just tell me what's wrong? This is really exhausting for me. You don't say anything, just get angry for no reason. Start throwing things. I don't even know how to comfort you. So, all your ex-girlfriends were better behaved than me, right? Sophia suddenly interrupted, her eyes bloodshot, questioning me with the immaturity of a child. How did things get to this point? I just wanted to have a proper conversation with her. I straightened up, asking her helplessly, if you mind these things, I can't help it. I don't think dating a few times is a capital offense. The past is past, why are you dwelling on it? Miss Sophia, does digging up these things and demanding answers really make you happy? Fine, I'll tell you. Yes, I dated them, and when I was with them, I genuinely liked them. Does hearing that bring you joy? Sophia's eyes grew even redder, tears threatening to fall. Seeing me stand up, she anxiously tried to grab my sleeve, but I brushed her hand away. My voice also held a hint of confusion. I used to think if I just cooperated with you, we could get along fine. But now I realize, I simply can't adapt to your way of thinking. Looking at her red eyes, my tone softened slightly. You're not happy when you're with me either, and you even hurt yourself. Sophia, maybe we should call off the engagement. No. Sophia looked at me resolutely, her red eyes wide, clutching my arm tightly, repeating over and over, we're not calling it off. Her face was extremely close to mine, so close I could see the fine hairs on her cheeks. Coupled with her pleading tone, it really looked like I was bullying a child. My mind went blank as I ruffled her hair, asking her once more, so tell me, why exactly do you want to marry me? Sophia's eyes flickered, instinctively turning away, but I cupped her chin. Tell me, Sophia. Zoph, tell me. I stared intently at her. I don't want to be a clueless fool who knows nothing. Her eyelashes trembled, her voice hesitant. I want to marry you. Why do you want to marry me? Her eyes filled with tears. She blinked at me, seemingly pleading, yet finding it hard to speak. I said it for her. You like me, don't you? Silly girl. What's so hard about saying that? I gently squeezed her cheek, intending to stand up, but she grabbed me, pushing me back onto the sofa. Her usual meekness vanished. She wrapped her arms around my shoulders, crying softly. She said, I'm disgusting like this, aren't I? Someone disgusting like me liking you? It's repulsive, isn't it? I looked at her in disbelief. What on earth was going through her mind? Her? Disgusting? Repulsive? Didn't she know that in online polls for the most suitable wife, she always topped the list? How could someone like her have such low self-esteem? I felt like I was glimpsing something deeper. Cupping her face, I forced her to look up, wiping the tears from the corners of her eyes. When my friends found out I might marry you, they were all envious, saying I must have accumulated 8 lifetimes of good luck. How come, in your view, it's become something shameful? She buried her head in my shoulder, silent for a long time, though she stopped crying. I patted her back, sighing softly. Soph, could you please have a little more confidence in yourself? That 32-story office building belongs to you. Everyone out there respectfully calls you Miss Sophia. You're so beautiful. Even if I fell for you, wouldn't that be perfectly normal? Sophia's body trembled slightly. She asked in a small, incredulous voice, You like me? What else? Do you think a guy would seek you out every day because he's bored and has nothing better to do? I patted her back, telling her gently, Soph, guys don't waste time on people they're not interested in. You need to be more confident. You're wonderful, truly wonderful. We'll be wonderful together in the future. Trust me. Sophia started crying again. Her tears soaked my collar, warm and slightly numbing. You can't lie to me. I won't lie to you. My heart softened completely. I gently stroked her earlobe, feeling the dampness on my neck and my own heart pounding. Maybe it's because none of my exes were her type. It's novel, I thought. Sophia's core was too fragile. A single word, a slight change in attitude from me could easily make her break down. This wasn't something you'd expect from the CEO of a publicly listed company. Yet, the reality was just that bizarre and absurd. She awkwardly stood up, her cheeks flushed bright red, yet habitually maintained her cool expression. Looking at me, she asked softly, "Are you hungry?" "A little." I stood up, straightening my crumpled shirt collar, pulling it down to cover the sliver of waist that had been showing. Sophia glanced away, her face turning as red as a ripe apple, which intrigued me. So innocent. This woman was nearly 30. Could it be she hadn't? Yet, suppressing my speculation, I lazily made a request. "Have your assistant bring up takeout. I don't feel like moving." "Okay." Sophia went out to instruct her assistant. I watched her slender white calves and tiny waist from behind, silhouetted against the light, and sighed. Good looks, great figure, rich and doesn't mess around. If it weren't for the mental health issues, she probably wouldn't have ended up with me in 8 lifetimes. A major reason for Sophia's poor mental state was insomnia. Her assistant told me, with extreme embarrassment, that many nights, Sophia slept hugging a photo of me. I didn't ask where she got the photos. The assistant breathed a sigh of relief. When I returned to Sophia's side, I watched her work for a while. Her ears turned red, and she seemed unable to concentrate. Putting down the documents, she asked, "Am I nice to look at?" I nodded instinctively, then remembered my actual purpose. "Can I go see your place? The new house you prepared." Sophia paused. Why the sudden interest in going there? Just want to see it. After all, it's where we'll be living. She rarely refused me. Hearing my request, she simply nodded, adding, "If there's anything you don't like, let me know." Stepping into that elegant and noble estate again, my eyes couldn't help but moisten. It was bright inside, sunlight slanting in, warming my skin comfortably. Unlike the last time, which felt chillingly cold and made me want to flee. I secretly glanced towards the locked room at the far right on the 2nd floor. I knew it was filled with photos of me, and her oil painting copies, clearly my face, with a black mole near the corner of the eye. Silently, I followed Sophia into the bedroom. It was decorated with bright red bedsheets and covers, emblazoned with a large she, double happiness, character. Standing by the bed, I felt like laughing and crying at the same time. Finally, I tugged Sophia's sleeve beside me and asked, "Do you want to marry me that badly?" "Yes." She blinked her beautiful eyes. "Is there anything you're not satisfied with?" "No, everything is perfect." I pulled her down to sit on the bed. "When did you start preparing this?" "Just these past few days." She expertly extended her fingers for me to play with, utterly docile. The room next door was where she had killed herself in the previous life, blood splattering everywhere. And now, she was in my arms, head resting against my neck, her expression gentle and content, like a well-fed predator lounging lazily in the sun-drenched grass. Had I actually changed her fate? The wedding date was approaching. I visited her every day, staying late before leaving. My mother scolded me several times, unable to hold back even these last few days. Sophia, however, seemed quite happy. She ate more, gained a little weight, and her thin fingers filled out slightly. Once, just as I was about to go see her, I saw Olivia waiting downstairs at her company building. She grabbed me as soon as she saw me. "You've been bewitched by her. Let's go to North America." "Are you crazy?" I saw her hand away in disbelief. "Think whatever you want, but I absolutely cannot let you continue down this path." Olivia gritted her teeth. "You don't like her, you're just curious. You can't throw your life away like this. Whether I like her or not, what does it have to do with you?" I found it strange. "Don't you think you're overstepping?" Olivia stared with bloodshot eyes, her face suddenly filled with sorrow. She seemed to deflate, her voice soft as she pleaded, "Can we get married? Ethan, you can't just abandon me like this." She looked disheveled, as if she'd been beaten, her clothes wrinkled and clinging to her body, desperately pleading for my pity. I remembered what my friend told me at Olivia's wedding in my past life. If you had gotten married first, she definitely would have lost it. What love at first sight? Tall and strong? How could that compare to the history between you two? She was just taking advantage of the fact that you'd played around enough and lost interest in women, that she was your only female friend, to be so recklessly promiscuous. Olivia. I called her name, my expression complex, and brushed the dust off her shoulder. Go home. I'll pretend I didn't hear what you said today. I'm getting married. You should be more careful in the future too. Otherwise, people might misunderstand, and it'll be hard to explain. She stared at me in panic, tears suddenly falling. She murmured softly, I just missed my chance by a little while. Is there really no turning back? We're friends. I used the words she had used on me in the past life to answer her. If you want, we can be friends forever. When I pushed open the door, Sophia was sitting on the sofa, radiating negativity. Why are you so late today? Ran into a friend downstairs, chatted for a bit. I placed the pastries I brought on the table. Turning back, I saw she still looked gloomy, finding it odd. What's wrong with you? Sophia looked up at me, her voice tinged with an inexplicable grievance. How did your chat with Olivia go? How did you know? I started to ask how she knew, then remembered the people she had watching me and decided it wasn't necessary. I told her the truth. She came looking for me, said she wanted to leave with me. A sinister glint flashed in Sophia's eyes. I patted her shoulder, pulling her into my arms, saying lazily, but I refused her. I told her I like you more. Sophia slowly murmured an oh. My smile widened. Aren't you going to praise me? What's there to praise? I declared my loyalty to you right in front of another woman. I pinched her delicate cheek playfully, pretending to be annoyed. How can you show no reaction at all? Sophia looked at me, bewildered. After a moment, she got up and took a box from the drawer. Opening it revealed a diamond watch. It looked familiar. Is this the one from the Hong Kong auction? Yes. I burst out laughing. The watch was nice, very valuable, but Sophia had spent 30 million on it at the time. The headlines that night were all, "The fool who spent 30 million on a watch. Why did you buy this?" You like blue, she said softly. I thought it suited you. Thank you, sophomore. I wrapped my arms around her neck, nuzzling her cheek. The auction was 2 months ago. Why bring it out today? You seemed unhappy just now, she whispered. I originally planned to give it to you on your birthday, but I thought maybe it could make you happy now. When was I on? I remembered my feigned annoyance just moments ago and shut my mouth, finding it rather funny. This person really couldn't tell the difference between genuine and feigned anger. I squeezed her cheek. I wasn't angry, really, but I'm still very happy now. Soph, I really like you more and more. Sophia's cheeks flushed slightly. She let me pull her onto my lap, letting me kiss her forehead. Honestly, apart from that one time she lost control, I didn't really perceive Sophia's illness much. When facing me, she just seemed like a normal person who was slightly emotionally slow and didn't quite understand men. But her assistant repeatedly warned me not to provoke her. I couldn't help but ask, has her condition worsened lately? No. The assistant stammered. Miss Sophia's mood has actually improved a lot. She doesn't need sleeping pills at night anymore. Then why do you keep bothering me? Miss Sophia got better because you got closer. If you get tired of her and leave, the consequences will be truly severe. He pleaded with me. I don't know what your motives are for approaching Miss Sophia, but please, I beg you, don't just walk away casually. Miss Sophia will genuinely lose her mind and die. I added silently in my head. I patted his shoulder. Don't worry. I care about her more than you do. I wasn't some savior, nor a professional therapist. I could only do my best to make Sophia less sad. I wanted her to be happier. If her mood improved, other things would likely follow. When Sophia's mother contacted me, I was somewhat surprised. After all, this was the first I'd heard of her family. Her mother was from New York, dressed in similarly luxurious attire, with a face resembling Sophia's but possessing a completely different aura. She exuded a sinister quality that I found terrifying. Right off the bat, she told me bluntly, Mr. Ethan, I want you to leave my daughter. I was a bit stunned. I picked up my teacup, took a sip and calmly asked, how much money are you offering? 20 million. Enough for your family to weather its current crisis. I paused. I hadn't even known my family was in crisis. I subtly assessed her for a moment, then decisively said, we're truly in love. You'll have to add more. A necklace Sophia bought me cost 30 million. Your offer isn't enough to tempt me. She scoffed. Do you think being with her is a good thing? She looked at me mockingly. Have you contacted any of your ex-girlfriends lately? Go ask around, see how many are still alive. And that Olivia, do you think Sophia will let her off? What about your sister? You think blood relation matters? Let me tell you, Sophia won't spare her either. Your love is so grand, yet everyone around you suffers. And you're kept in the dark like a fool, knowing nothing. Isn't it laughable? I frowned, my eyes filling with disgust. I trust Sophia. She's not that kind of person. Whether she is or not, why don't you investigate and find out? She smiled confidently. They say daughters take after their mothers. The methods I used on her father, she'll absolutely use on you, believe it or not. Then your husband probably isn't by your side anymore. No, quite the contrary. We're very happy now. She laughed, looking smug. He couldn't escape, he resigned himself to it. He still has living family he couldn't bear to abandon. He's very gentle now, very obedient, waiting for me at home every day. Soft, mild, all his claws and fangs clipped, tamed until he can only depend on me, docile as a caged bird. I jolted awake. It was just a dream. The north wind howled against the window pane, breaking my days. I belatedly realized my back was drenched in cold sweat. I had never met anyone as repulsive as Sophia's mother in my life. Just thinking about her smug, taming theory made me want to vomit. It was still afternoon. I had napped for nearly 3 hours. I checked my phone, 16 missed calls from Sophia. I dialed her back. Before I could speak, Sophia's rapid, urgent voice cut me off. Why weren't you answering my calls? You met her, didn't you? What did she say to you? Are you thinking you don't want me anymore? You want to leave? Call off the wedding? Break up with me? Stop guessing. I cut her off wearily. No, I didn't answer because I was asleep. Don't overthink it. Sophia fell silent, her breathing heavy. After a moment, she said pitifully, Ethan, I'm scared. Her voice was so mournful, so pathetic. It flooded me with sympathy. I sighed. Even though she's your mother, to me, she's a stranger. I trust you more. Do you understand? Sophia didn't answer, just said very softly, Ethan, I want to see you. Sophia came to my house to pick me up. The moment I got in the car, she pulled me close. She held me tightly, burying her head in my shoulder, pleading tearfully, don't believe her. Don't believe a single word. Okay. I patted her back, replying concisely, I only believe you. Sophia lifted her head, tears clinging to her eyelashes. Under my guidance, she could now express her emotions freely in front of me. Whether hurt, sad, or anything else, she knew to tell me instead of bottling it up. Just like now, she mumbled sullenly. Can you please not see her again in the future? I was so scared today. When you didn't answer my calls, I felt like I was really going to die. Don't say that word. I covered her mouth. You will definitely live a long and healthy life. Sophia's emotional train was interrupted, leaving her momentarily stunned. I ruffled her hair, a slight curve on my lips. If you don't want me to see her, then I won't. I only met her because of you anyway. Soph, you need to be more confident in yourself. I squeezed her hand. No matter what anyone says about you, I won't believe a bit of it. I only trust what I see and hear, what you tell me. You are truly an outstanding person, sophomore. You're amazing, and you must be confident, understand. Sophia suffered from deep-seated insecurity. I didn't know what she had gone through to make her so self-doubting and timid, especially in relationships, always frantic like a headless fly, feeling unworthy of anyone's love. These days, I seized every opportunity to praise her, from her looks to her knowledge, from her wealth to her status, even remarking that her fingernails were exceptionally cute. Only with enough confidence could she stop being like a frightened bird, living in constant anxiety. I wanted Sophia to find relaxation and joy in our relationship, not to be constantly tense, wondering if I was angry or how to please me. That would be exhausting. Soph, I'm an adult. I have my own judgment. I won't change my opinion of you based on a few careless words from her. I leaned over and hugged Sophia's shoulders. I like you, and I have a mouth. If something comes up, I'll ask. I absolutely won't leave. Besides, you're so exceptional. I don't want to let you go and benefit someone else. Sophia's eyes sparkled like diamonds, brilliant and radiant. Compared to when I first met her, her cold demeanor had noticeably lessened, replaced by more warmth, no longer resembling that piece of deadwood ready to crumble at any moment. My presence had finally, tangibly affected her. I could guess that Sophia's family background caused her great pain. But when she held me close and whispered that she disliked her name, I was still a bit surprised. She hated me for coming between her and Dad, so she gave me this name, hoping I'd die early. Mushue Mushue, evening snow, like the setting sun? From the moment she was born, her mother wanted her dead. How could such a person exist? My heart felt heavy. I held her hand. But your father loved you. He didn't love me, Sophia said with a bitter smile. He was just tied down by me. He's different from you. He's a very traditional man. Even with higher education, he stubbornly valued family above all else. After I was born, all his resistance became hollow. He couldn't abandon me out of a sense of responsibility, but on his own, he couldn't provide me with a comfortable life. So he was forced to accept his fate. As she spoke, her tone was frantic and chaotic, her eyes red and watery, as if veiled in mist. Pain me to see her like this, but none of this is your fault. You shouldn't bear the bitter consequences of your mother's actions. Stroking her soft, long hair, I told her seriously, Soph, you're amazing, outstanding. Your father would definitely be proud of the person you are today. Sophia gave another bitter smile. She leaned against me. Only you always think I'm good. So, Ethan, I only have you. She wrapped her arms around me tightly, pleading earnestly, you absolutely cannot leave me, or I'll go crazy. Opening my email and seeing the pile of harassing messages, for a moment I wanted to meet that person. How much hatred must she harbor to resent her daughter's happiness so much, determined to destroy it? I took a deep breath. The emails were mostly threats or attached photos of my exes, detailing how miserable their current situations were, followed by earnest advice to stay away from her. I didn't even look closely, just deleted them all. Lately, I'd been busy preparing for the wedding, overwhelmed by the guest list from my side, so my contact with Sophia had lessened. That's why when I received an urgent call from her assistant in the evening saying she had attempted suicide, I didn't register it at first. A moment later, it felt like I'd plunged into an ice cave. Sophia had attempted suicide right after seeing her mother. I don't know what that woman said to her, what triggered her fragile nerves, but as soon as she left, Sophia slit her wrists. Fortunately, she was discovered quickly. Outside the emergency room, I leaned against the wall, my teeth chattering uncontrollably. How could such a mother exist? She must have known Sophia's mental state was fragile, yet she mercilessly pushed her towards death without hesitation. When Sophia was wheeled out, she had an IV drip in her hand, her face deathly pale. The healthy color she had painstakingly regained over the past weeks was completely gone. I sat on the chair beside her bed, staring blankly at her, lost in thought for a long time until she woke up. The first thing she saw upon waking was me. Her voice was hoarse and raspy as she called my name. Ethan. I ignored her, got up, and went out to call the doctor. After the doctor removed the IV, I stood by the bed, silently staring at her pale face, until she grew frightened. She said anxiously, if you're unhappy, just yell at me. Hit me even, just don't be like this, Ethan. Don't ignore me. She seemed terrified of the silent treatment. Every time I put on a stern face and ignored her, she'd panic like a lost child, tugging at my sleeve, begging for forgiveness. But this time, I wasn't going to indulge her. I ignored her for an entire day, watching her grow anxious and lost, sinking into confusion and self-loathing. The gruesome scar on her wrist was reopened several times, bleeding again, prompting even the doctor to advise me, consider the patient's feelings first. I know, I said softly. Don't worry. Back in the room, Sophia was listless, her gaze vacant as she stared out the window. She was too fragile, too defeated, like a soulless vessel. Sophia. I stood about 10 feet away, calling her name softly, my voice devoid of emotion. She seemed to realize something, closing her eyes in pain, refusing to answer. But I ignored her evasion and told her plainly, maybe we should call off the wedding after all. Crash, the vase on the bedside table shattered. Her expression contorted momentarily with fury, then quickly shifted to dejection and utter despair. She called my name, her voice raspy, Ethan. She scrambled, trying to climb out of bed to reach me, tearing open the wound on her wrist again, fresh blood welling up. I stepped forward, pressing down on her wrist, and stroked her messy hair. What are you planning to do now? Lock me up like your mother did to your father? Tame me until I only obey you? Or would you rather hurt yourself than lay a finger on me? Ethan. Sophia looked up, like a small, frightened animal, staring at me helplessly. I answered for her. You'd choose the second option, wouldn't you? I leaned down and kissed her lips, a lingering touch devoid of passion. As I pulled away, I pinched her cheek lightly. Soph, you're not like your mother, and I'm not your father. We won't end up like them. Soph, Sophia, my dear, darling. What exactly are you so afraid of? I think I could glimpse a bit of her mother's psychology. She knew that even though Sophia's father had resigned himself and stayed with her his whole life, he wasn't happy at all. The marriage was far from the blissful picture she imagined. So she couldn't stand seeing Sophia happy. Sophia obtaining the love she desired so easily made her feel like a failure, even enraged. She kept emphasizing to me that Sophia was her daughter and would inevitably commit the same monstrous acts. She was constantly trying to brainwash Sophia too. I checked the surveillance footage. The last thing she said to Sophia before leaving was, "Just you wait. As long as you're alive, sooner or later you won't be able to resist dragging him back, locking him up, just like I treated your father. When that happens, your father's present will be his future." Watching this, I gave a sarcastic smile. So this woman knew her own husband, Sophia's father, was miserable enough that threatening another man with the same fate was a useful tactic. Sophia didn't want me to become like her father. She didn't want to hurt me, and she loathed the perceived tainted genes within her. Under duress, she unhesitatingly chose to end her own life. Do you see the difference between you and her now? I crouched by the bed, looking seriously into Sophia's eyes. When she learned your father was leaving, she resorted to coercion, threats, even imprisonment, utterly classless actions. But you would only hurt yourself. I took her uninjured right hand, lacing our fingers together. Soph, do you think someone like you would ever hurt me? Sophia's throat moved, her eyes red, looking at me with sorrow. But I'm scared, Ethan. You're so good, so proud. I'm afraid you'll become like my father. We won't. I told her again, Soph, we will have a very happy future. Humans are essentially predators, possessing primal, ugly desires. But what's valuable is the ability to suppress and control them. You worry you might hurt me one day, but you controlled that impulse, choosing suicide rather than harm a single hair on my head. Soph, believe in yourself. Humanity has evolved for so long. We're no longer primitive beasts hunting in the forest. I looked into her eyes. And please believe in me too, okay? I'm not your mother. I don't hold on to outdated traditional values. My willingness to stay by your side is solely because I like you very, very much. Ethan, sophomore, I repeated, telling her very seriously, please believe me. I've dated many people. I've become quite indifferent towards relationships, and I despise selfish women. If I hadn't met you, I probably wouldn't have dated anyone ever again. Just like in my previous life, dying alone on an expedition. Having dated too much in my youth made everything seem dull. Until I met Sophia. She respected me so much, was so obedient. In front of me, she was as docile as a mindless kitten. What started as pity evolved naturally into affection. No guy could dislike her. I arranged to meet Sophia's mother. In the coffee shop, I looked at the woman in the luxurious suit and asked softly, I heard your husband used to be a diplomat, a commanding presence on the international stage, quite dashing. She narrowed her eyes. Why are you bringing this up? And now he can only stay at home, his figure gradually becoming bloated, his mind growing dull, unable to keep up with the times, making you find him repulsive. By now you've realized that the man you loved, the one who captivated you, was that charismatic figure, not this nagging old man at home who annoys you now, haven't you? Shut up. She tried to interrupt me. I ignored her, just smiled and told her. And unfortunately, it was you who personally created this tragedy. I didn't know if she had affairs, but judging by her demeanor, it seemed likely. Such intense love eventually dissipated under the grind of domestic life. She must have regretted it, wondering why, after everything went her way, nothing felt perfect anymore. Let Sophia go, I said softly. She's already suffered enough because of you and your husband. You shouldn't vent your own frustrations on her. If you remain obstinate, I smiled slightly. My politeness towards you now is only because you are Sophia's mother. The moment I find out you intend to harm her, I will not spare you. She didn't get angry. Instead, she slumped onto the chair, her expression somewhat dazed. I voiced the thought she likely had. Are you perhaps thinking that if your husband had half my backbone, you wouldn't have ended up like this? You're wrong. If I encountered someone like you, the only outcome would be mutual destruction, both of us dying together. With your personality, any man who fell into your hands would end up miserable. I had provoked her. She shot up, raising her hand to strike. My bodyguard intercepted her, and they scuffled. A 50-year-old woman being wrestled to the ground by a bodyguard was rather humiliating. I chuckled softly, looked at her, and repeated what I'd said earlier. Madam, as I said, I am not your husband, nor am I some pushover you can easily manipulate. I'll repeat myself one more time. Stay away from Sophia. Otherwise, I poured a cup of scalding coffee over her head. I definitely won't let you off. While I don't condone fighting fire with fire, I have to admit violence can solve many problems. Chicago was still the territory of established families. She couldn't fight me. Seething with resentment, she completely disappeared. After the wedding with Sophia, she leaned against me, childlike, giggling somewhat foolishly. Ethan, Ethan, she murmured as if in disbelief. I finally married you. Silly girl. I patted her back exasperatedly. You drank so much. Go take a shower. She giggled and went into the bathroom. I set out the aromatherapy candles I bought specifically for the wedding night and waited for her expectantly on the bed. I have to say, compared to Sophia, I was much more experienced. The moment she saw me, her cheeks instantly flushed crimson, utterly adorable. She took tiny steps towards me, hesitantly reaching out her hand. I smiled and grasped it. That night, I had a terrible dream. I dreamed of Sophia's previous life. After I ran away, her mother came to provoke her, gloating, "See? Soon you won't be able to resist dragging him back, locking him up, just like I did to your father. Stop pretending. Your true nature is that of a greedy lunatic. How your father is now, that's how he'll end up. You'll drive him mad." I saw Sophia clutching her head in agony, repeatedly growling, lying in that room full of my photos, her face contorted, repeating no. She didn't want to hurt me, so she resolutely chose to end her own life. I woke up startled. My back was drenched in cold sweat. I opened my eyes. Sophia was sleeping peacefully in my arms. I gently touched her beautiful features and got out of bed. Standing before the locked room, I took her large keychain and tried key after key. The door opened. I stepped into the room that had haunted my nightmares. Sophia's suicide was likely an act of self-destruction born from intense pressure and disgust towards her own perceived genetic inheritance. As she looked at the walls covered with my photos, blood flowing freely from her wrist, feeling life ebb away, her gaze caressed my smiling face inch by inch. Even in her final moments, her eyes were filled only with me. I remembered the trending topic from my past life. Number 1 love brain wasn't entirely wrong. Even now, I didn't know where Sophia's love for me came from. She wouldn't tell me. I asked many times, but she refused to say. Perhaps couples need some secrets between them. If she didn't want to say, I wouldn't ask anymore. Ethan. Turning around, Sophia, who I thought was asleep, stood behind me, silhouetted against the light. She looked a little crestfallen, asking nervously, "Do you think I'm a creep?" I shook my head and walked over, taking her cold hand. "Why are you awake? You weren't there." She sounded aggrieved. The bed was cold. Couldn't help but chuckle. When we first met, she was cold and distant, unsure how to respond to me. Now, she could already seek attention playfully quite proficiently. Whether child or adult, once someone experiences favoritism, they naturally exhibit childlike, attention-seeking behaviors. She realized what she was doing, then tugged my sleeve again, asking cautiously, "Do you think I'm a creep?" "No, just a bit surprised," I said honestly. "I didn't realize you started liking me so early on." "You don't blame me?" "Why would I blame you for liking me?" Sophia's cheeks reddened. She wrapped her arms around my waist. "You're so good to me. Does that mean you'll indulge me no matter what I do?" "I just trust you won't do anything to hurt me." I turned around, wrapping my arms around her neck. "I trust your character." Towards someone who would rather harm herself than hurt me in the slightest, I refused to harbor any malicious speculation. True affection is rare in this world, and mutual love even rarer. I cherished Sophia's feelings, just as she cherished me. A favored child, facing the risk of that favor being taken away, will unhesitatingly lash out. Like Sophia's current attitude towards Olivia, it took considerable effort to stop her from throwing away the gift Olivia sent. Olivia had given me a set of hand-knitted pajamas. A tiny heart was embroidered on the chest, radiating intimacy and ambiguity. Sophia wanted to flip out the moment she saw it but held back when I glared at her, sitting sullenly on the sofa without moving. I ignored her and picked up the pajamas, examining them. "What's so interesting about them?" she muttered, leaning closer, wanting me to hold her. Her warm breath tickled my neck. She was clearly unhappy but didn't dare voice it, only calling softly, "Honey." "All right." I took her hand, feeling a headache coming on, and stuffed the pajamas into her hands. "You deal with it. Just don't throw it away, or it'll be awkward if she finds out." So Sophia took scissors to them, venting her anger by cutting them into tiny pieces. I watched silently for a moment, then couldn't help asking, "Do you have some grudge against Olivia?" Her movements paused. She mumbled a quiet I couldn't stand her before, being so close to you yet getting entangled with other men. So disloyal. When she was dating other guys, I probably had girlfriends too. Sophia's double standard made me want to laugh, but I held back, feeling it wasn't appropriate. "It doesn't matter now." I chuckled softly, comforting her. "Now I'm with my Soph. She can't interfere anymore, right?" Sophia's face turned completely red. She turned her head away, not looking at me, and whispered a small I never specifically tried to treat her depression. I just treated her like a normal person, doing my best to make her happy, coaxing her like a child, giving her ample sense of security. She naturally got much better. The insecurity and sensitivity stemming from her upbringing, I fully compensated for. She grew increasingly dependent on me, but alongside that, she also became more confident and vibrant. Her assistant talked to me once. "Actually, I always feel it's not ideal for the boss to attach her personal emotions so heavily to someone else. But there's really no other way. She might just be a hopelessly devoted type." He didn't dare say the words love brain, and I didn't fill them in for him. We understood each other. "Actually, I agree it's not ideal. Her emotional core relies on someone else, not herself. If something were to happen to me, her spirit wouldn't be able to sustain her life." I sighed. But life rarely offers perfect solutions. Since I accepted her, I should also accept the diversity of human personality reflected in her. I didn't want to force her to change. In a healthy, intimate relationship, both partners should derive spiritual joy and fulfillment, not painful alteration. I wanted her to be happy. Everything else was secondary. On our 3rd anniversary, Sophia found out she was pregnant. She was very nervous, even faintly despondent, too anxious to sleep. I couldn't help asking what was wrong. She hugged me, saying sadly and pitifully, "Honey, I'm afraid I won't be a good mother. What if I don't raise the child well? Will you blame me in the future?" "No." I stroked her head. "You are always more important than the child. A child born into our family definitely won't starve. What they become, how they live, that's up to them. Soph, we are the ones who will spend our lives together." Her eyes widened, wanting to say something but unable to form the words. After a moment, she mumbled, "Honey, you're so strange." Maybe parents, after having children, often see themselves as candles burning for their offspring, paving the way for them their entire lives. I didn't want that. Life is short, If you don't live for yourself, how boring is that? Sophia was different from me. She yearned deeply for a family. In her mind, a handsome husband and obedient or noisy children represented the most beautiful vision of happiness. Actually, I think you'll do great. I told Sophia, everything you longed for in your childhood, you'll compensate for with the child. You'll be very good to her. And the process of being good to the child would, in turn, heal her own sad and difficult childhood. That's why I wanted a child. For her. Sophia hugged me, saying softly, "You are the most important. I just want a baby. I will definitely be good to her, very, very good." I smiled at her. I believe you. I believed she would be fine, happy, and live a long life. I would be with her, watch her live smoothly and peacefully, having a happy and joyful life. We would have a wonderful future together. Epilogue. Sophia never told Ethan that the first time she saw him was by a filthy gutter behind the high school. She was so dirty and smelly back then, starving, digging through trash cans for food. Then she met Ethan. He looked like an angel then, wearing his school uniform, standing at the alley entrance, watching her calmly for a moment, a hint of pity in his eyes. He pulled $2,000 from his pocket and gave it to her. "Go find something else to do." The teenager's voice was gentle. "Stop doing things you don't like yourself." Sophia didn't know why he helped her. Maybe it was pity, compassion, or maybe just boredom while passing by. All she knew was that Ethan saved her life. She used that $2,000 to buy a bus ticket to another city, worked day and night, used her incredible talent for stock trading, and caught the last wave of the internet boom. When she returned to Chicago, she was dressed in finery, surrounded by a large team of advisors. And Ethan was already known as Chicago's notorious playboy, changing girlfriends every couple of months, playing the field extensively. Sophia wasn't surprised. She felt that a boy as handsome and kind-hearted as Ethan was destined for such a life, pursued by flocks of women. But she also felt sad. Perhaps it was the base, shameless part of her genes, but she often felt a primal urge, like a wild beast, to rush over, lock him up, and force herself on him. That wasn't right. She tried hard to restrain herself. The result of this restraint was mental strain. She developed a severe mental illness. Going to Ethan's family to force the marriage was a desperate, all-or-nothing gamble. She longed so desperately to hold that godlike boy. Loneliness tormented her day and night, almost consuming her. But if Ethan wasn't willing, she wouldn't force him either. She didn't want to become a shameless person like her mother. Later, the boy willingly walked towards her. Sophia felt her entire life was worth it. 6 years into their marriage, their child was already 2 years old. Sophia dreamed of her past life. She died in that cold, dark, gloomy room filled with shadows. She saw Ethan place a single, vibrant rose beside her body. That night, Sophia stood on the balcony all night long. Her eyes, bloodshot, gazed at the bright moon in the sky, round like the mooncakes her husband bought. Sophia felt an indefinable sadness. If her husband had run away from the wedding, then her death seemed quite natural. The emotionally stable Sophia couldn't imagine the extremism and despair of that period, but she felt it was somewhat normal. What wouldn't someone with a mental illness do? But her husband hadn't run away this life. What's wrong? Ethan wrapped his arms around her waist from behind. "You've seemed down since this afternoon." Sophia felt aggrieved, wanting to act cute with her husband, but she opened her mouth and didn't know what to say. She jumped into Ethan's arms, wrapping her legs around his lean waist, nuzzling his neck for a long time. Then she felt there was no need to ask anymore. Ethan didn't like her bringing up the past. He always said, "Focus on living the future well." So she didn't want to dwell on it either. No matter what, this life he was by her side. She said with a smile, "I love you so much, honey."